In this live stream, I'm going to be answering questions directly from my personal finance community, Dollar Discipline University. So, with that said, let's just jump right into it here and not waste any time at all. Excellent. So, the first question came in from Jacob, who's in the community. And he says, my current financial situation is stable thanks to my job as a customer service agent. However, I currently have limited savings and feel that my money isn't growing or being invested effectively. My expenses are mostly under control, but I don't feel I'm progressing towards financial independence. My desired situation or goal is to build financial security by saving regularly, creating multiple income streams, and investing wisely. I have at least one. I want to have at least one strong passive income source, a solid emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of expenses, and ideally begin investing in either a small business, real estate, or long-term assets. My question: how can I focus? How can I create a solid financial plan that helps me save more, invest wisely, and eventually become financially independent, possibly even retire early? I've tried or considered limiting unnecessary spending, learning about investment options like stocks and crypto, exploring freelance or side income ideas, looking into tools or budgeting and saving, considering launching a small business or digital product. Okay. First of all, Jacob, what's going on? I'm going to let you know that I'm responding to this. Answering question around 1 minute mark. Okay. And we will put this here. Okay. So again, thank you so much for sending that, Jacob. There's a lot here. So I think that's kind of going to be one of my takeaways. But let's kind of just dissect this piece by piece. I'm going to answer each of the things, and then we're going to talk about kind of the bigger thought that I have here for you. So really, I saw a few desired goals. Okay, so you want to save regularly, have multiple income streams, and invest wisely. Okay, so save regularly first. What I would do, my recommendation for that would be to do something called pay yourself first. And basically, what happens there is every time you get paid, you simply take a certain amount of money out of the paycheck immediately, and it's gone. And now you have the rest of your paycheck to deal with the rest of all of your expenses until you get paid again. So I don't remember how frequently you get paid. I think it's well, whatever. If it's weekly, biweekly, or even monthly, you figure out how much do I want to save this month. Okay, so let's say you get paid every 2 weeks, and let's just start with $100. So it's like, okay, every 2 weeks, let's just take out $50 immediately as soon as I get paid. And then at the end of the month, you'll have $100, right? And I think a lot of people don't do this because $100 isn't going to make us rich, right? So it's not like this super sexy thing to just save $100. But it's more of the habit that you're building, because basically what I'm seeing here with the question is you don't really have, like, you feel like you're in a stable job, which is great, but you don't really feel like you have many things as far as like another asset to hold on to, and saving money would be considered an asset for sure. So that'd be my recommendation. It seems like you have maybe limited or zero savings. So while $100 isn't going to make you rich and let you retire early, like you're asking, we want to just start building up the habits, stacking the habits, and pretty soon you'll be going from $50 a paycheck to $100 a paycheck to 200 and up. Like, it'll just keep happening because you'll be building up habits, and you'll want to continue to do more. And maybe as your experience grows or you get older or something, your salary increases and you're able to kind of keep pushing that ball forward. Okay. The other kind of desired goal you have is multiple income streams. And I know that we've talked on the phone before, Jacob. So this is directly to you. I think the idea that you have, you should start soon. And the idea of multiple income streams. So let me see if I can pull this up really quickly. I think it's going to be important here. Let me see if I can Can you guys see that okay? Yeah, perfect. So this is from another presentation that I do. Things happening. It's pretty general. Like you have a lot of things that you want to accomplish financially, which is amazing, but it's very hard to do so many things at once. So this is why I thought that this image came to mind immediately when I was reading your post. So think of this circle. Okay, this is you, right? And each of these arrows with a dollar sign. Let's pretend that each of these is $100. Okay, so there's 8 of these around the circle. Now, this is what your post reminded me of, where this is you and you have all of these goals and you want to just start putting a little bit of money towards a lot of bit of things, right? And while that could definitely work, I think a big misconception around multiple income streams is general people like us. We see the super rich people have all these different income streams and they think that that's how they got rich, when really they got rich from being very good at one thing, maybe 2 things, getting super rich off that, and then just like diversifying their income and diversifying how they make money and splitting it into different things. That way they don't lose their shorts because all their money's in this one area. So I think that's a big misconception that a lot of people think. And this just kind of reminded me of this. So instead of this, I want you to think more like this. Now, this is the same amount of dollar signs. There's still 8 dollar signs here, but now we're focusing it towards one thing, which is awesome. Okay. And I think for you, based on everything that you've mentioned in your post, it's a great, it's really fun to think about investing into, real estate or long-term assets or something like that. But if you have limited savings, I would just start there. I would start there. And then in terms of your last desired goal that you have was investing wisely, I would just say, right? Yeah. Yeah, investing wisely. I would say investing in yourself is probably more valuable right now than just, blindly investing into things that you mentioned here, like real estate or long-term assets, unless you kind of know what you're doing. I would just keep believing in yourself and invest in yourself. So yeah, Jacob, I hope that was helpful. If you watch this and you have any follow-up questions, let me know for sure. Okay, so the next question here, and I'm going to stop sharing. I gave my community not a lot of time to put in some questions. So I actually, this is a new concept in the community. So actually, if you're in the community, you're watching this after and you like this concept, let me know. I'd love to keep doing this. And if you're not in the community and you're just watching this on YouTube, let me know if you like this too. And we can kind of keep doing this. I'm just all about testing stuff. And if it's helpful for you guys, then that's great. I'm going to keep doing it for sure. So the next idea here, and I have 5 things that we're going to run through. This number 2. And this was a post that I made the other day in the community. And there's a very cool little graph here. So the majority of US adults are most stressed about this expense category. And surprise, surprise, here's the little graph that I'm talking about. Most US adults are stressed about grocery costs. Okay, because I wanted to go through this topic because it's a pretty interesting chart in my opinion. So they polled, and this is AP News, that's the source. They polled 1,400 US adults, and it was last month that they conducted this. So this is super recent. So 1,400 people, it's a lot of people. It's obviously not the entire United States, but it's a very good sample size. So what they did is I think they just listed a bunch of things, and it's like, hey, what are you most stressed about, financially or whatever? And you could pick a bunch. So in blue here, it's a major source of stress. In the pink color, it's a minor source of stress. And this like purpley red color is not a source of stress. So surprisingly, over half of the people that took part in this said that the cost of groceries was a major source of stress. And what is that? 86% said it was some sort of stress for them, the cost of groceries. So that's about 5 in every 6 people, which is a lot, that had some sort of stress based around groceries. So very interesting, because especially when you look at the other things on this list. So the cost of housing was right below that. The amount of money that you make, the amount of money that you have saved, healthcare, credit card debt, student debt, and the cost of childcare all came in behind the cost of groceries, like by a lot. So that's like just kind of surprising to me. But I guess if you think about it, like again, I don't know the age population that they did here, but everyone has to eat, right? So everyone has to go to the grocery stores. Not everyone maybe has housing expenses or high housing expenses. Like maybe there was some younger adults in here that live with their parents, or there's like roommate stuff. We've got like 5 roommates, and the cost of housing isn't really a big deal. And then other things, yeah, I mean, the cost of childcare pretty low because maybe a lot of people don't have children, right? So, but if I was doing this, if I was answering this, the cost of childcare for me would be number one. It's a lot. It's a lot for 2 kids. But anyway, so I guess the Q&A part of this is going to be back to you guys. So if you're watching this live now, or you're watching it later on, how does this shake out for you? Is there anything not on this list that you would consider putting on this list? Um, like car stuff, car maintenance. I don't know what else could really be on it here. I guess like they have very specific debts. So maybe your mortgage is very stressful. Um, but I guess that's cost of housing. Yeah, so I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, is there anything else that you would have on this list? I just thought it was an interesting chart. And I know that groceries go up and everything like that, but for me, I would not have expected that. That's why I'm showing it here. And yeah, I think this is one of those things where it's like, yes, the cost of groceries is going up. So we have to think about, okay, the cost of stuff is just going to keep increasing. Like it's just fundamentally going to keep increasing. So how do we keep increasing the money that we're making? I think it's a good question to ask. Because a lot of people on the finance journey, and I was one of them back in the day, about a decade ago or something, when I was like really trying to figure out my finances and really try to figure out what was going on. But like the easiest thing for everyone is, okay, let me just like try to cut expenses immediately. That's surely going to be the easiest way. And yes, that is the easiest way in the short term. And it's very popular for people to do, and it makes a ton of sense. But uh, the better way to have more money is to make more of it. Um, so yes, if you're looking for more ways to like kind of cut expenses, you or have more money, you cut expenses first, but then also look towards increasing your income. And it's harder, and people I don't think do this because it's more of a long-term play, and it's harder. I think we all as a society just try to avoid harder. I think as humans we sort of just kind of um, go into our shell when things get hard. So I think that's just kind of like a challenge that I have for everyone. It's like, how are we looking at our income and making sure that we're, not just getting the 2 or 3% cost of living raise at our company or whatever, but how are we like actually trying to improve our skills, become more valuable either at our workplace or learn new skills to try and go to a new workplace or kind of pivot careers a little bit. I know that can be scary and it feels like maybe you'd go backwards before you go forwards, right? But it's just something to think about, something to do. Sort of in the same line here. So these next 3 questions were actually questions that I've received recently in the last few weeks from people that I speak with in the community. But um, I'm not going to. I'm sort of paraphrasing as well, but I'm not going to. I don't have their permission to really like go into specifics. It's more of just a broad question of some people that I've had recently, just to give you some context. So question number 3, what's the best way to budget when your income isn't enough to cover all of your expenses? So this is a great kind of tie into the last part of what we were just talking about. So first of all, anyone can budget and everyone should be budgeting. It doesn't matter if you think your expenses are higher than your income, you should still be budgeting and you should still look at it. Because it shows us where we stand, right? A budget doesn't show us what we can't do. It shows us what we can do with our money. And I think there's a big definition description. There's a big definition discre what am I trying to say here? There's a disagreement or a misunderstanding about how to define the word budget. There we go. I know English, I promise. Um, and again, because I talk to so many people that it's very interesting to see how people think about this. So when I ask people like, hey, like, are you budgeting your finances? And then they say yes. And then I say, okay, great. What does that look like for you? And for some people, that means doing it like the traditional way. It's like, no, I have a spreadsheet, I have an app thing, I have whatever. I write down all my expenses, whatever the way works best for them. But they're like literally tracking all of their expenses. Like, that's amazing. Other people are like, oh, yeah, no, I definitely budget. I pay my bills on time every month and I know when my bills are. It's like, okay, that's great. But what about like the non-bills, like the stuff that you buy every week or every month or every day, whatever, like groceries or something? And those things are the things that fall off, and those are the variable expenses in our finances, and those are the things um, that we have the highest kind of that are easier to reallocate, I would say, than like a fixed expense. So like, okay, you know what your bills are. We're going to call those your fixed expenses. So like your mortgage, maybe your I don't know, a car payment, whatever. But like, okay, you know when you owe people money, that's great. Now we need to figure out where all the other money is going and how it's being allocated, and then if it's aligned to our North Star goals, the things that matter the most. So if you look and you're like, oh wow, I am spending a lot in some sort of entertainment category. It's like, ooh, maybe I don't need to be this entertained, right? And it's like I can shift some of that money towards saving money, similar to the first post that we were talking about Jacob's question, right? Um, so yeah, I think when I get this question, it's like, yeah, uh, just because you think your expenses are higher than your income doesn't mean you shouldn't be budgeting, because we can at least see where we are. And then if you're like, okay, yep, I'm losing money every single month. Now you have to make a kind of drastic move. We have to at least get to net zero. Like that has to be the first step. Okay. So we either cut expenses or we start a side hustle or something like that, just that you can start super quick. I personally tested doing Uber Eats. Because I've never done it before and I wanted to see like, hey, is this a viable way to make money? And I mean, I did it over like 10 or 12 days or something. I did 20 hours. So basically it was 7 days, but over like a 12-day span or something like that. I ended up doing 20 hours and I made $250. So while it's in like minimum salary range kind of thing, minimum hourly rate uh, territory, it was still $250 in 20 hours. So like if there's someone that's struggling out there, now again, I'm sure like maybe everyone's location is different. Like if you don't have a lot of restaurants near you, you have to drive super far to get to like a hub of restaurants or something. That could be different. Maybe that's not the side hustle for you, but I just want you to think about ways to do it. Cause like for the Uber Eats example, like if someone took the 20 hours that I worked and hustled and did that in a week on top of their other obligations, that could be $1,000 a month. Okay. And you don't have to do this thing forever, but you grind for a little bit, you get back to even, and then you try to figure out how do I get above even so I can start saving money and build up a little, emergency fund nest egg over here. That way, when stuff happens, I can just pull from that and you kind of rinse and repeat. And hopefully you kind of, okay, I used from the emergency fund. I pulled from it, but now I have to build it back up. And then you just kind of keep doing that process and you're getting better and better at it. I hope that kind of makes sense, but so yeah, basically, the TLDR on that, the too long didn't read, is you should be budgeting. Everyone can budget, even if you don't think you quote make enough money to budget. I think that's silly. How do you decide which debt to pay off? This is question 4. Sorry. How do you decide which debt to pay off first when you have credit cards, medical bills, and student loans? So this one I like to answer with math, actually. And This is my new budgeting and debt tracking tool. It's called Wealthway. And I'm really kind of proud of the debt portion of this for sure. There's other things in here. There's a budget section. Okay. Quick little dashboard. We can see all of our transactions in here, but the debts is where this is here. So the question was about, credit card bills, medical bills, and student loans. So these are not all of those, but just pretend, that these are whatever debts you have. Okay. Pretend you have 3 debts and these are the debts that you have. After we enter in here, so you can just add a debt really quickly, yada, 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 right? Enter all this information. You have your list of debts. And then you go over to the payment calculator, and then we just let math decide, or like our psychology, because there's 2 different debt strategies. One is based on saving money, saving interest, saving money from interest. And then one is like feeling mentally good about our decisions and the psychology around it. So we're going to go through it very quickly, but I just wanted to show you this tool because there is no correct answer to that question, by the way. Which one do I pay off first? It's just kind of like what your preference is, but you have to know what the best ways are to do it. And then you kind of learn from there. So yes, you can still see my screen. Okay. So we go to the payment calculator here, and let's pretend that our we have $65,000 in debt. Our minimum payments are $950. We scroll down here. We're like, what's going on in this page? Debt payoff strategy. You could toggle between these two, and it's going to tell us a quick little synopsis of like what the strategy is. So for that snowball, it's saying you put extra money towards the smallest balance. The avalanche method is you put extra money towards the highest interest rate. Okay. And then there's a custom section, which we can talk about in a second. But you will see down here, and my fat head is sort of in the way blocking this, unfortunately. Let me try to make this different. No. Okay. Okay. I will just tell you the last column. So it still has our debt information. So all this debt that we entered, the balance, the interest rate, the monthly payment. And now there's these 2 extra columns here, total interest and debt-free date. So based on all of the information that we've input, this, debt calculator is calculating the total amount of interest that we'd pay for each of the line items on top of the balance, and then what the debt-free date is based on this information. Now, which one do you pay off first is you can kind of play around with these 2 strategies. You can toggle through. So you can see on the bottom of the screen, the order of the debts is changing because the snowball is focusing on the smallest balance, which is the student loan for $10,000. And the avalanche is focusing on the highest interest rate, which is the credit card at 22%. So you can go even further with this. And this is a calculator. So this is not actual data, but it's just, hey, let's just play around and see what we can do. So I'm going to start typing, and you're going to see stuff moving because it's a very, very smart calculator. It changes as we type. So now it thinks we added an extra $1, $10, $100. Okay. And you'll see down here, there's this additional section that popped up. It's called strategy comparison. So every time you add more than your minimums, this is going to pop up for you. And this is very helpful because it shows you the breakdown for the snowball strategy and the breakdown for the avalanche strategy. So as you can see, it's like, here's all the total interest. Here's how much time, here's how long it's going to take. And then here's the total amount paid for all the debts plus all the interest. Okay. And then the avalanche strategy is the same thing. We have our interest, how long it's going to take, all the money that we pay. And then down here is the coolest part. I haven't seen too many like budgeting tracking softwares do this, but it shows you the benefits of both. So it's saying, hey, for the avalanche method, if you choose this, you're actually going to save $11,000 in interest compared to the snowball. But then the snowball's like, wait, don't forget about me, because if you use me, you can pay off your first debt 25 months faster than the avalanche method. Okay, so each of these has an advantage. You just have to decide which advantage you want to take. Now, if you're like, I don't know what advantage I want to take, let me play around a little more. You can click on this custom tab up here. And then what you can do is you can kind of drag and drop different scenarios. And now you have 3 strategy comparisons. Okay. So what's cool is what I just did. Yep, that worked out well. So you can see that the total amount paid. So 119 for snowball, 108 for avalanche, 121 for custom. So they're all different, and you can keep kind of changing around this the custom strategy, okay, and just play around with it and see if it changes anything. But right now it's saying, hey, since we're in the custom, I'm going to compare it to the custom strategy, and the avalanche right now would actually save you $11,000 more if you were to choose the avalanche and the custom. So if we just keep kind of swapping really quickly, okay, perfect. So now it's saying, hey, if you choose the custom, it's going to save you $11,000 in interest over the snowball. And it's saying, hey, the avalanche, you would save $260 of interest compared to the custom. So it's just comparing all of them. So this is a great tab if you want to be like, hey, I don't really care about what strategy. For me, I just have a mental block on one of these debts. Like, let's say your student loan is a pain in the ass. You're like, you know what? Let's get rid of the credit card first. The interest is brutal. And then after that, the student loan just has to go. And so you just move that next, and then you can kind of order it however you want. Okay. Yeah. So to answer this question in the most long-winded way possible, I would say it does not matter, but you just need to have a strategy. So when I say it doesn't matter, I don't mean just like guess and randomly do stuff. Have a strategy, but either one of these is great, the snowball or the avalanche, and just pick one and just kind of ride with it and focus on it, and don't give up on it. Okay. Um, so if this is your first time seeing Wealthway, by the way, it's a completely free budgeting and debt tracking tool, and I'm right now only giving access to people inside my free personal finance community, Dollar Discipline University. So the link to join is in the description of this live stream. It's school.com/debt. So you can just join. Anyone that joined gets a free strategy call if they would like with me, and I can give you, you can join the wait list to be another beta tester for Wealthway. All right, so let's get to the question here. Question 5, how can you handle unexpected expenses when your budget is already tight? I get this one a lot. It's like, hey, Chris, how do I do the whole money thing when I don't have any money? The simple answer is you probably need an emergency fund. And then your response would be like, well, if I don't have money to do stuff, I don't have money to put money towards an emergency fund. It's like, okay, fair. That is absolutely fair enough. This kind of goes back to, I brought it up earlier in the live stream, but how do we start prioritizing our goals? So let's break it down. Okay, we're going through life and everything happens, right? And an unexpected expense happens, and we have no way to pay for it, so we go into debt maybe to pay for it. So we have to fix. The problem isn't the unexpected expense that are popping up; it's the fact that we have no way to fix it, to do anything with it. We have no way to handle it. So that's the first problem. We need to be able to handle it. So what I want you to do first is think, okay, and this is a great exercise if you've never done this before, but what unexpected expenses have popped up in the past 3, 6, 9, 12 months, whatever. You can go back as far as you want with it. It's a good exercise to do. And then what's the number for you that you would feel comfortable at least having as a small emergency fund on the side to sort of combat that, right? So if you're like, okay, well, I had this $600 thing, I had a $1,200 thing, I had a $300 thing. It's like, okay, perfect. So you had a $1,200 thing. So what if we just arbitrarily just said okay, how do we get to $1,000, $1,500? Okay, just first, how do we get to that? Because that would, in theory, combat all the unexpected expenses that were to come up, right? So I like the idea of paying yourself first. I mentioned it earlier in the live stream. So if you're just joining me, here's what it is. Basically, every time you get paid, if you get paid weekly or biweekly or monthly, you just instantly put money aside. I don't care how much it is, especially if you have no savings or super limited savings. I don't care how much this amount is. I don't want you to get fixated on oh, wow, I need to save $1,200 immediately. No, I don't think that's the right strategy. because we have to build the habit first. Right now, habits are greater than the dollar amount that you have to put aside. And that might seem like, huh? That might be confusing, but I don't care about the dollar amount. I care about building the habit up because I think the reason why a lot of people don't do this is, let's say, so, okay, for example, I was helping someone with their personal finances, and he was in a situation where his bank account would kind of go in like the very low three digits or two digits in his checking account every single month, and it kind of kept landing there every single month. And I was like, okay, what we have to do, he got paid weekly. What we have to do is, um, let's put aside $25 a paycheck every time you get paid, and just shove it over here, shove it somewhere else, out of sight, out of mind. Okay. And then the rest of the week, you basically just have you have $25 less to deal with for the week, for your finances, whatever. And when I asked him, I was like, hey, does that seem unreasonable that you'd be able to make it through the week with 25 less dollars? And he, of course, said no. Right. So that's great. What ended up happening is at the end of the month, he had $100, and he had never really saved money before. It's been a while at least. And it was just this habit. He had saved money for 4 consecutive weeks. Now, that $100 is not going to make him rich or, save him from any unexpected expenses. But he didn't get, in this example, $1,200 in the first month and feel great. It's this progress that we have to build up to. So I would just start somewhere. If you've saved nothing or have very limited savings, save $100. It's still early in August, so save $100 this month. And then once you do that, then save $150 next month. And then just keep trying to ride it up a little bit each month until it becomes a little unsustainable. And it's like, okay, nope, this is my pocket right now. I got to stay at, whatever, 150 a month, and just kind of build it up from there. And you just, at some point, you kind of have to hope that like unexpected stuff does not come up. There's no guarantee, right? But at the same time, we're saving money. It's like, I keep going back to like the income thing. It's like, what's the thought around increasing our income? Because if our income kind of stays the same and we keep expecting our expenses to save us, like cutting our expenses or reallocating expenses to save us every month, that's just not going to be the case, right? We know that because when unexpected expenses come up, that's the problem, right? So it's just something to kind of think about, a new way to think about it. So basically, to sum up this question, it's like, don't worry about the dollar amount. Again, it sounds weird. I know. Just save something, and then eventually that's going to be it's just going to work. It's just going to work eventually, and you just got to hope and pray that the money doesn't an unexpected expense doesn't happen. So yes, I like that you're talking about saving small amounts. Yeah, no, thanks for the comment. It's I think we get too fixated on like the super sexy, like, hey, I got to invest in, you know, save $1,000 tomorrow or go into real estate or crypto. And it's just like, let's slow down here. Like we have no, we have no like money at the end of the month. We have no savings. We have no assets. We have nothing. So like, let's just, how do we start the snowball moving forward? So if you have nothing, save $100 this month, and then let me know because I'll be stoked for you. And then try to save a little bit more the next month. And then you just keep rinsing and repeating that cycle over and over and over. And it works because it's boring, and people don't do it because it's boring. But this is what we have to do. This is how I did it personally. About 10 years ago when I was on my journey, I was like, why do I not have any money at the end of the month? It was just like so frustrating because it's like for a while I was tracking my bank account every single day, but I still like was in the same spot every single month. Like the end of the month would hit, I'd be at the same amount in my bank account every time. It's like, what is happening? It's because I wasn't tracking, my expenses or like anything else. I was just sort of looking at my bank accounts and I was like, okay, let me recategorize everything and sort of put it into all the different categories. And it's like, where am I spending all my money? And then it's like, okay, um, how do I, yeah, how do I switch it around to match something that I care about? So at the time I was saving money. And then I was thinking like, okay, actually at work I had an opportunity where there was like overtime as an option. So I was like, I'm going to take a lot of overtime. So I worked like, I don't know, it was like an hour or two extra every day, which isn't super a lot, but it was like enough to like I made a few extra $100 every single paycheck. And then that helped out a lot with the reallocation of my spending. So it was like quickly I was able to start saving like three, four, $500 a month because of those two things combined. And it's just really powerful. And I don't think like I don't want you to scoff at like the idea of saving $25 or $40 or $60 and not think it's anything. So yeah, CS, I'm really glad that you appreciated that. Um, so yeah, guys, that's the live stream here. This is a quick little fun Q&A from the community. So if you're in the community, again, if you're in Dollar Discipline University and you like this, let me know. I'm going to probably do this every other week for a little bit and just kind of see how it goes. If you're not in the community and you're hanging out here or you're watching this after all this time, I appreciate you, but you got to get in the community. If you're trying to save more money, pay off debt, you're trying to just build up your personal finance foundation, you're just trying to think about something differently. There's 182 people in here that are on the same journey as you. And yeah, anyone new that joined, you get a free strategy call with me. So if you like these kind of Q&As, this is who I am. This is my personality. So this is kind of how the call will go. And I hope to see you in there, guys. And I will see you hopefully next time. Have a good night.